Everybody. I'm Peter Skiera, aka Stations Guy. Welcome to another episode of Recommended Stations here on YouTube. And my guest on today's show is something called the Cipherling. And what this device does, it searches out for number stations, and when it finds one, it alerts you with a tone and a blinking LED, and you can then play the station. And if it can get any metadata about what the station is, where it is, it'll show it on its little green display. It's a quirky little device. The creator calls it a weird little device, a WLD. And it was a part of a Kickstarter campaign. You've heard me talk about Kickstarter before here on the show. And in a nutshell, it's a platform, a venue for people who have an idea for something, a book, a board game, headphones, pretty much anything. And you start a campaign on Kickstarter and you ask people to pledge money towards your campaign so you can make your idea a reality. And usually in return, you get something. Not always, but usually the creator will give you something which is typically one of this thing that he's creating, whatever it may be. And so in this case, it's a Cipherling. And so your next question is probably, what is a number station, this station that it receives? What is this? These number stations were probably most prolific during the Cold War. And what they are is you would have a handler who would send a shortwave broadcast to a spy. Maybe you've got a U.S. spy over in Russia. And so his handler is going to send him either instructions or some kind of information via shortwave. And the spy over in Russia, he knows what frequency to tune in on his shortwave receiver. He knows what time to tune in. He listens and he might hear music. He might hear a person actually speaking something, numbers, which thus the name number station. But he's hearing something in code, which would probably mean nothing to you or me. But he can decode the code either in his head, he's got the code in his brain, or maybe he's got a little code book, and he can decipher what this message means. And it might be instructions for his next assignment, whatever. These stations still exist today, certainly not in the quantities that they existed during the Cold War, but they're still around, they're still in use. And so, as I say, this device searches for those stations and plays them. It is not a radio. It's not a shortwave radio. You can't tune in specific frequencies. You can't tune in AM and FM. It is just dedicated to finding these stations, and the creators set up something called an SDR, a software-defined radio over in the UK, and that's what finds these stations and then relays them to the Cipherling. This project had quite a delay. They had expected to ship the Cipherlings out to their backers in July of 2025. Well, guess what? I got mine in March of 2026. So they were 8 months late, and they only made 100 of them. So it's not like they had to make thousands and thousands. But actually, 8 months in the grand scheme of things isn't too bad. I've backed a number of Kickstarter campaigns, and a good number of them have taken a lot more than 8 months to get the product to their backers. And in some cases, at least in a couple of cases, with my experience, I never even got the reward. They just took my money and disappeared. And that happens with Kickstarter. It's a risk. You're basically investing. Kickstarter goes to great pains to say they are not a store. You're not buying anything. You're investing in a project, and you may or may not get your reward. Well, in this case, I'm glad to say I did get the reward. It cost around $133, give or take. It was £99. It was based in the UK, so everything's in pounds. They made 100, but they did have some people who said, hey, I would really like to get one of these. So they added on a few extra, and that was £149. So they had a total of 123 backers. I actually discovered this campaign by mistake, or not by mistake, but just happened to come upon them. I browse Kickstarter every once in a while, and I came across this. They had already gotten their 100 backers, so you couldn't back it, and they hadn't at that point expanded to offer it to other people. So I was kind of locked out. So what I did was I just kept jumping on every day, literally every day, jumping onto this campaign to see if someone had dropped out, because you have a certain amount of time where if you change your mind, you can cancel your pledge and get your money back. And someone did drop out. So I took their place. I jumped in and I got it for the 99 pounds. Um, they had different color options that you could vote on. There was an army green and a brown or black two-tone, which was my favorite. That's the one I voted for. Unfortunately, it didn't win. What won was a sort of orange, off-white, and black. It looks to me kind of Halloweenish. I don't know how that won, but it won. There was an all-gold version. There was a red and pink. There was a white and gray. There was a violet and I think black. And there was a yellow and an orange. So you could vote. This Halloween version is what won. They also had a version in a translucent purple, which they called atomic purple, which was really cool. It was very kind of 80s Nintendo-ish. I really liked it, but it was quite a bit more expensive. Something like $358. I don't know if that was on top of the 99 pounds or if that was the total cost, but it was 267 pounds, somewhere in there. And I just couldn't justify that just to get the purple. It was a very cool color, and I would have liked to have had that, but not for that kind of money. So this device uses a custom ESP32. It has no battery. It has a USB-C connection. So you plug in your USB-C cable and have a power plug on the other end. It didn't come with those things. It has a color display, although you're only going to see green. It's got a little audio amplifier, a tiny little driver. It's got a dial on the side that you use to navigate the menu or to select and have the station play. The campaign said it was going to come with rubber feet, did not come with rubber feet, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. All the plastics are 3D printed using some kind of environmentally friendly plastic. And what's a little bit odd, though, is it only operates on 2.4 gigahertz. You have to set it up through 2.4 gigahertz. You can't use 5 gig, which just to me seems kind of odd. And it created a little bit of a problem for me because my Wi-Fi at home automatically defaults to 5 gigs. So I have to go in the app and select certain things to get it to switch over to 2.4. And even then, it only does it for 30 minutes. So I've got to kind of complete the setup in 30 minutes or go through this process again. So it's a little bit of a pain, but it has a tube, which is where the audio comes out of. And when I first got onto this campaign, I saw a video where it showed a horn, like a sort of like a Klipsch horn on the front, which I wasn't sure if that was something that was a friction fit. It came separately and you could put it on there, or if it was all one piece that was 3D printed. And I assumed that that's the way I would receive it, with the horn or a horn attachment. But when I got it in, it had no horn. It had no horn attachment. It was just a tube. It looked like a plastic PVC pipe from plumbing or something. Not very attractive. And I was kind of excited about the retro look of the horn and so on. So I let them know. I messaged them through Kickstarter that was a little disappointing. And also, when I received it, one of the feet broke off. It has these foot mounts, and it actually broke in half and the foot fell off. So I messaged them about that, and they very graciously made a whole new unit for me. And at the same time, they said, you know what, since we've got to do this, we'll make you one with the horn, which I thought was fantastic and so great of them to do that. And as far as I know, this one is the only one that has the horn. So that's really cool. I really appreciated that they did that. The feet are not rubber; they're plastic and they're smooth, so that it kind of slides around. And when you go in to press the menu, the select button on the rotating wheel, the thing moves and slides. So I found these little rubber cap things here. I had some sort of wire shelves in my closet that I ripped down and threw away, but I saved these. These were on the ends, so you didn't poke your eye out. And not knowing what I would ever use them for or need them, but I think they're going to fit very nicely on the feet on this Cipherling, and it might give it maybe just a little bit more grip than they have now. So what I'm going to do is, so anyway, as I said, I had one, the foot broke off. They sent me another one, and this is it here. And so I'm going to do a virgin unboxing. And this one supposedly has the horn on it. So that'll be very nice if that's the case. And what they did, I asked them, did you change the plastic material so the foot mount won't break again? And they said no. All they did was the original mount was friction fit, and now they're gluing them in. So hopefully that will make a difference. I don't know that it will, but we'll see. Okay, let's get all this. Lots of packing peanuts. So this is it, the Cipherling here. Nothing special about the box. Looks like pretty thin cardboard here. So I'm glad they packed it well. We'll open this guy up, see what we got in here. We've got a bunch of black, whatever you might call this, confetti or packing material, whatever. And this is it here. Okay, there's nothing else in there. This is the little guy here, the Cipherling. There's the feet. But this is the piece here that broke. This foot mount right over here, it actually broke in half. The foot fell off. I couldn't get the foot to stay in. And I was kind of concerned that it would continue. You can see the driver right there, the little driver, little speaker. Here's the LED that alerts you when a station has been found. This is the LCD screen. This is the rotating dial that you can push in. And it just says on the back here, weird little devices made in the UK. So I'm thinking maybe since they're saying weird little devices, that they'll add to this. They'll come up with something else new at some point. But this is Cipherling, and I've got a couple of packages here. I don't know. Maybe these are a horn, or maybe there's a couple different horns. Not sure, but let's see what we have here in these packages. Okay, so there's this. Not exactly sure what that is. And then there's this one. And this definitely looks like a horn. This is definitely a horn. Oh, yeah. Yep, that is a horn. That is definitely a horn. See, it looks a lot like a Klipsch horn. So I think the way this works is I think I have to remove this tube and put this in there, and then put this on here like this, I think. Yeah, that's a friction fit. It just snaps in. So I will eventually remove this tube and put this on it, and that'll look pretty cool. So what I did was, and actually I can put one of these little rubber boot things here that I had, see if that fits on there. Oh yeah, that's going to fit on there nice. It's going to be too tall. I might have to trim this, but that'll work very well. So what I did was I with the first one that I got that broke, I set it up, and you have to, like I said, it generates its own Wi-Fi signal, and you use that to get onto an app, and then you have to be on the 2.4 gigahertz network and set it up, and then you basically leave it alone. I mean, if you want to go in and change certain things, they give you some basic things you can change, but you leave it there, and when it finds a broadcast, the LED light flashes, and you get a signal, and then you can press the wheel select section on the wheel to play the station if you want to. So I did that. I got a number of broadcasts out of Russia, which to me sounded just like static. It was just white noise. And so it was, so what I got was this. I'll play it for you. And then I got one out of Taiwan that was similar, just noise. Here it is. But there are also a couple out of Poland, which, according to Google, this particular station is an actual number station, but it's mostly dormant. But it was actually somebody speaking. So I'd like to play a couple of those for you. Here's the number station out of Poland. So, I'm a geek, self-admitted geek. I'm a radio guy. I worked in radio. I have a small collection of radios. I love radio. On Patreon, I write about internet radio stations. So I'm into this kind of thing. I realize it's not something that's going to appeal to everybody, which is probably why they only made 100, or in this case, 123. But to me, it's interesting, and I thought I'd share it with you. One other thing I want to share with you while I have you, and while we talked about Kickstarter and radios, there's a company called boombox, which makes basically Bluetooth boom boxes, right? So they don't have a tuner. There's no AM, FM radio. There's no cassette deck. It's basically a large portable Bluetooth speaker. And recently on Kickstarter, they launched a campaign to create an actual retro old style boombox with dual cassette, AM, FM, and shortwave, Bluetooth, a built-in slot load CD player, a USB jack. Really, they just went all out, and I think they spent something like 3 years developing this product. It's based on the Sharp GF777 boombox, which to me, it's not the most exciting boombox. It's kind of boring, I think, to be honest with you. I wish they had done like the Canyon or one of the others, a JVC or something. But I'm just glad they did it. I'm not complaining. I'm just glad they did it. It's big, it's powerful, it's got lots of features. They're offering it in black, silver, and red. So I've pledged for the red one. The campaign is still going on right now. Let me see if I can bring it up for you here. I don't know how well you'll be able to see this. I can also do a screenshot. But this is the campaign, The Return of a Legend. It's on Kickstarter. It's active right now. You can go on and pledge. It's $649 for the standard boombox. The retail, when the campaign is over, will be $1,049. So far to date, they've raised $4.2 million. And they were hoping to raise $50,000. So they really knocked it out of the ballpark. It's got magnetic grills. They have what they call a Founders Edition, which is really pretty much the same as the standard edition, except you get a little badge on the back with the logo, and you get a little pat sewn onto the shoulder strap. I went for the Founders Edition, for the red version. The black and the silver quickly sold out because the Founders Edition are limited to 777 units. So those are gone. You can get the regular versions of them, but the Founders Edition for those are gone. The red, as of right now, is still available. I don't know why the red was not as popular. I just wanted something different. You're so used to seeing black and silver. I thought, it'd be nice have something that stands out a bit more. But I'm really excited about this project. I'm glad Bumpbox is doing it. They're claiming that the Founders Editions will ship within the next, I think, 3 to 4 months is what they're saying. Whenever I get it, I will do a show on it and review it and talk about it. Because it's great that someone's doing this. Nobody would do this. No company would do this. There are companies that make radios, but I don't think anybody would have an interest in doing this. But Bumpbox, I think they were really positioned to be able to do it because they basically do boom boxes already. It's just not really a full-fledged boom box as you would think of a boom box from the 80s. So very exciting. So that's today's show. I hope you enjoyed it. And please let people know about it. Share, subscribe if you would, especially if you're interested in finding this show, watching this show about the Bumpbox boombox. And this is the kind of thing I do. I love vintage. I love retro. So subscribe, like, share. Thanks so much for watching. Please be kind to each other, and I will see you again very soon.